ആർക്കും എപ്പോഴും എന്തും ഇതിനനുസരിച്ച് ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ചോദിക്കാൻ I permit you to ask questions during the session, at the end of the session. Okay? അതിനു വേണ്ടി ആരും ഒന്നും എഴുതിയെടുക്കേണ്ട. ഈ പ്രസൻറ്റേഷൻ ഞാൻ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡൊണേറ്റ് ചെയ്തു. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിനെപ്പറ്റിയുള്ള അല്പം ചിന്തിക്കുക എൻ്റെ കൂടെ. And this presentation is a reflection of my 21 years of experience with NAC, drawn from higher education institutions across the country. I have been part of the designing of the new manual, member of the consultative committee to design the manual. And we have moved and have a lot. Whatever grade or points whatever thing he said, 3.1 or something, these are all meaningless. What is meaningful is the DVV validation. DVV validation is 70%, and that is waiting, and the remaining 30% is for peer team validation. So whatever validation you have already got, they are just only peripheral information. Okay, so don't be in a cloud that we have 369 or whatever. Now we are going to look at your college in a realistic manner, and I want you to ask, you to introspect whether we have this, and if not, what can be done to at least reach somewhere, if not 100%, somewhere in the context. Okay, as I told you, you can ask me question. മലയാളത്തിലോ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിലോ ചോദിക്കാം, ഹിന്ദിയിൽ ചോദിക്കാം, മറാഠിയിൽ ചോദിക്കാം. Okay, and I am very happy that there is a teacher in this college who studied in the college where I also was a student. But I was a student during 1967-69, and you were a student?
Sir, I worked there, sir.
You worked well. Oh, very good.
2003.
2003. Anyway, so I have some relation with her. Look here, you are all looking at quality, and it was John Ruskin who said that quality is not an accident. It is always the result of intelligent, deliberate effort. Now, if you want to build quality in this college, what you need is an intelligent approach, a deliberate approach, and not an emotional approach. Not an emotional approach. You need a systematic approach. Modern higher education institutions around the world have developed not only as a center of knowledge, but also as a catalyst of social, economic mobility, transformation. I wrote a paper on higher education as a catalyst of economic development, which was published. Now, whether your higher education happening here, is it enabling the students of your college to move up in life? in work. Okay? These are the issues. In a hierarchical pluralistic society like India, university college campuses have been the only space where students could find opportunities. The campus is the only place where students could find opportunities and confidence, self-confidence to break the fast changing socio-economic barriers. When they are entering the market after graduation, there are barriers. There are unemployment. It's a barrier. Are you equipping your student to overcome this issue of poverty and unemployment by building self-confidence in them in the real sense of the term, not the emotional sense? I'm not talking about the political sense or things like that. Are they competent to break the barriers? It was Mintz who said higher education is changing for a number of reasons. The dictum now is survival of, earlier it was survival of the fittest. Now we say survival of the changer. Is your institution changing to be part of the contemporary development happening, socio-economic development happening in the world? Because now it is not that your student is looking for a job in Kerala. The student is not just looking for a job in India. The student is looking for a job. Now opportunities are there across the world. And is the education that you are providing, is the confidence that you are building in your students enough to cause the movement of students and get a good job? Getting a job is very significant, not very significant. You can get a job in a mall. And there are engineers working as salesmen in malls. So getting a job is not the issue. Getting a job along with or consistent with the education that you have gone through is issue. Okay? So according to John Kennedy, change is the law of life. And those who look only to the past and present, and I want you to look past and present, to understand, those who only look at the past and present are certain to miss the future. So you have to come out of the old robe that you were wearing. Maharajas can continue to be Maharaja, not like the Air India. Air India Maharaja, this is now bankrupt. Now I do not want your Maharaja to be to be in that, to give company to Air India. So therefore what you need is, principles of, what you need is to look forward. What is needed tomorrow you have to build today. Capacity building of students today should happen so that when they enter the market, enter the HR market, enter the labor market, as in economics language, enter the labor market, they are capable of facing the storm. That is what rebuilding of institutions are all about. What are the changes happening? The government has now moved to, earlier only the rich and middle class used to go to colleges. The affluent used to go to colleges. Now with the inclusion policy of the government of India and state government, even the marginalized students are able to come to the college. And the rich may not be looking for a job directly after the completion of the education, but the poor needs a job. You know, they say that the army marches on its feet, on the stomach. It's not on the stream. So the poor students come to the college to acquire that skill, that competencies, which will make them employable. This is the change that is happening. That is what it is now, that we are moving from traditional examination-oriented education to output-oriented education, outcome-oriented education. Okay? So, there is a shift from local and regional to education has become globalized. Change in the priorities of the students. You know, today there was a phenomenal growth of engineering colleges across India. And you know, today's AICT report is 50% of the seats are vacant. Students have moved away from engineering, are moving away from engineering. Their priorities are changing. In fact, to me there was a time when engineering colleges grew at a fast rate. I was finding it difficult to get a basic class filled. In fact, I had 600 students passing out from my own 11th and 12th standard science. 12th standard science, I had 600 students passing out every year, and out of that, I was not even getting 60 students for my BSc. 540 students you go to professional colleges, engineering, medicine, all sorts of diversified courses, but they were not coming. And I had to admit students from outside colleges to fill the one division of BSc. Today, for 100 seats, I have 5,000 applications. For 100 seats of BSc, I have 5,000 applications. For 30 seats of biotechnology, I have 3,000 applications. 30 seats of biotechnology. This is the situation today. Why? Because good students are coming back, and therefore you have to now rebuild your science to meet that. Even in Kerala, I think, in Tamil Nadu, there are 1,30,000 seats are vacant. Tamil Nadu, near neighbor college. And earlier, our students used to go to Tamil Nadu, Karnataka for admissions. Okay? Now those days are gone. Priorities are changing. Government, earlier it was the government used to start colleges. Now private sector is coming, corporate sector is coming. You have Asim Premji University, Shiv Nadar University, they are all industry people. Ambani has set up 2 or 3 universities. Dhirubhai Ambani. Okay, corporate, foreign universities are coming. Open learning system. Indira Gandhi Open University has 40 lakh students admitted. The strength of IGNOU is 40 lakhs. Please try to understand. The enrollment ratio GR is growing largely because of the open learning system. People are moving. There is competition for you. But I say that there is competition for government colleges. People are moving out from colleges even though your education is subsidized. People are willing to move to private sector and pay a little more than what you are charging because they prefer, they have a perception that it's a better education happening there. Okay? So, learning. Organized change, affiliation, you were affiliated earlier, now it has gone to autonomy, and if I am the principal of this college, I will go for standalone deemed university. Why not? 25 acres of land. 25 acres of land. How many colleges can have? Nearly 200 plus teachers. How many colleges do have? I have student strength, my college student strength is 7,000 on 2 acre land. On 2 acre land. Please try to understand. So therefore it's a great opportunity for you. You can become a standalone university. You have the potential, you have the potential, okay? But then for that you have to build quality. Okay? Financial model is under stress and changing. Teaching learning is changing. We are not, MACI has not asked a single question in the manual about lecturing, teaching. All questions in the NAC are learning, on learning. So teaching to learning, you have to change the pedagogy of teaching to learning. Is it happening? Okay. Skill expectations of employees are changing. Global market for HR calls for building global competencies in students. Global competencies in students. And all these concepts have been defined, very well defined. Okay. Increasing focus on quality and relevance. It is the responsibility of the higher education institutions to change from the age-old traditional mode and provide better opportunities. Now you have so much of land, so much of facilities, and being part of the government system, you have opportunities. I went to accredit Kodamangala MA College. In fact, till the last moment we were thinking to give A grade. Then we were taken to the infrastructure they have built on sports. Okay, Olympic scale, Olympic standard swimming pool, Olympic standard firing range, and they produce Olympians. And when we visited, those 2 Olympians who participated in the previous Olympic Games were presented before us. We immediately changed our perception of the college from A grade to A plus grade. Please try to understand. And UGC gave them 3 crore rupees for building this infrastructure, which means you can get this. And of course, the management also supported financially. You know, the being a minority institution, say they could liberally support the infrastructural development with their fund, partly, and then plus UGC fund. And now, for your information, RUSA is coming. I hope there is some RUSA happening here. RUSA is coming with infrastructure support to the tune of 2 crores for any college. And a college like you can get all these things and build the type of infrastructure that will need you to be part of the build global competencies. Okay? There's an ordinary cricketer, Harbhajan Singh. You must have heard, bowler, Sardarji, who beat that Srishant. You know that controversy. What he said, you cannot live in the past glory. Actually, I put this sentence only for you. Okay? You cannot live in the past glory. For anyone, it does not depend on what you have done in the past, but what you do in the present and future that matters. Please try to understand. I jocularly said that I put this for you, but my intention is very clear. Because I designed my presentation in the context of an institution where I am going to address it. That you will see later. Okay? As time passes, every education institutions to evolve. You have to change. You have to move. Okay? As a professional organization. As a, not a traditional bureaucratic. You may be a part of the government, but your administration, your organization can create systems, decentralize the governance, and make it as a professional organization where every paper that is relevant is available to you. Today, if you ask for a paper, old records, they will say, lapata hai, missing. See? That cannot happen. Even IQAC people must know. When you ask for from the department, the relevant document, they will say not available. And IQAC people have become Beck-Boro steel people. In every college, not this college. Okay? So therefore it is very, very, very important that you must have a filing system. So that all the files will be available. That is why NAAC is now telling, we are not looking for your paper document, digitize. Everything that is needed to be uploaded to the NAAC should be e-document. And the moment you digitize, it will be available because you can keep the master copy preserved. You don't have to ask anybody, where is that paper, where is this paper. The computer will give you. So introduce that, slowly digitization. Okay? And professional organization that clearly stated relevant mission and vision. Is your vision mission? I have come to that a little later. Okay. Higher education need internal systems to promote, monitor and control the activities to achieve vision mission and to assure in quality and relevance. One such system that has the potential capable of making this happen in a college is IQAC. Provided IQAC is not a paper tiger. Provided IQAC is empowered as a think tank. They think quality. They evolve machinery to implement quality. Okay? It's a think tank. It is the planning board of the college. It must be empowered as a planning board of the government. You next 5 years perspective plan, let the IQAC plan it. Incorporating all this. Varghese, I am giving you a lot of work. And Varghese. Okay? There is a picture now, Kamat. By your own student. Isn't it? So, it has to have planning board. IQAC should emerge as an empowered. Principal should delegate his power to IQAC with respect to academic matters. And Varghese will be a duplicate principal in case of quality assurance. Okay, don't put his coat and go and sit there. But assume that charge so that others will respect. What I say is that all the teachers in the college, when it comes to quality assurance and measurement, should treat Varghese equal to or a carbon copy of the principal of the college, the leader of the college, and support them. Then only the transformation can happen. Okay, and collectively they should think. I think there are 10 or 11 members of the IQAC, even somebody from outside also. So, for creation, IQAC should be empowered system for creation, A, enhancement, B, sustenance, C, benchmarking, quality benchmarking and monitoring of quality and relevance to ensure fulfillment of the aspirations of the youth. That means the responsibility of IQAC goes beyond what NAAC gives. NAAC guidelines give you what you can do. You can develop a system, institution related system, institution specific system. Okay? Don't think about other colleges. Think about your own colleges and what can be done in the context of this, and forget about those bureaucratic variations. Look at your vision mission running away. IQAC should evolve, or or revisit. An institution contextualized vision, mission and communicate down the line. Every institution has to make a vision, mission statement, and that I would suggest to you, your vision, mission should be contextualized, institution specific. Don't borrow the vision, mission statement of other colleges. I accredited a college, 2 colleges in Wayanad. Their vision, mission are different. I accredited Farooq College. Their vision, mission are different. Please try to understand. And therefore, your vision, mission has to be unique. And is your vision, mission statement unique? Institution contextualized? And when was this vision, mission? This I have borrowed from the internet. I don't know whether this is the vision, mission.
Yeah, this is the vision.
You are certified. Okay? Now look at the vision, mission. And what is vision? Vision should be the big picture, what you want to achieve. Your vision is just like our great man Abdul Kalam said, Vision 2020. He wrote some 10 years ago, Vision 2020. Now I want your IQAC to write a vision statement for your college, Vision 2025. Okay? Vision is a big picture, what you want to achieve, and mission statement is a statement how you are going to achieve what you want to achieve. Simple mathematics. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, and therefore A is C. That is the relationship between vision and mission. You must say what you want to achieve, and second statement, how you want to achieve. And for that purpose, you prepare a perspective plan. You prepare a strategic plan. Okay? So you must revisit your vision, mission statement. What is your vision? To provide quality education. To provide quality education. This is the first sentence of your vision. Have you defined quality education? So while looking, I am not going to spell out all these things. By looking at the vision, mission statement, to me, the whole statement is an open-ended statement. You need to make it close-ended, specific. At the end of that period, you say, somebody asks you, where are you? You must be able to say, yes, we are here. It cannot be an infinity. There has to be some finite things, statement coming out. And you can look at even the University College, Trivandrum Vision Mission, much better than this. More specific than this. Look at SB College Vision Mission statement. Simple sentence, one sentence. Their vision statement is that we want to be internationally recognized. So whatever they want to achieve. So there is some recognition, that means they want to go beyond NAAC accreditation. They want to go beyond accreditation into international ranking. Not only an IRF. Not only an IRF. They want to go beyond that. Okay? So the language of vision mission statement may vary from institution to institution, but the intentions are more or less same. So my first request to IQAC, redefine your vision mission with concurrence of the management, governing body, whatever. Okay? And contextualize that in the institution context,
so that somebody will be able to measure it, your achievement. Somebody will be able to measure our achievement. You have to be little more specific. So what is quality? Now we come to the topic. What is quality policy? When your vision is to provide quality education, among other things, accuracy should derive a specific quality policy. When your vision statement say first paragraph that we want to provide quality education. So now we have to define quality, okay, and derive a specific quality policy and an appropriate perspective plan to translate the vision into be defined. You know, there is a simple definition of leadership. What is a leader? Who is a leader? A leader is a person who can translate vision into reality. This is a simple management definition of leader. A person who is able to translate what is vision and mission, that is your agenda. You have been appointed, you have been assigned this particular role, and vision, the leader doesn't mean only principal. Leader means vice principal, leader means HODs, and in the classroom, every teacher is a leader. So you need a 360-degree leadership. Not just the man who is sitting in the principal chair. Even a class 4 staff is a leader in his area, domain area. In his domain area, he should be a leader. He is a man who will know his job and work for that. The moment he does that, he becomes a leader. Okay? So what is the definition of quality policy? According to ISO, you know, International Standard Organization, being an integral part of academic governance, an institution is responsible for establishing, reviewing, and maintaining the quality policy and quality objectives. Being an integral part of, so quality policy is an integral part of the academic governance. Okay? Academic governance, institutions is responsible for establishing, reviewing, maintaining the quality policy and quality objectives. Quality policy should build on institutional objectives and values and be appropriate to the purpose and context of the organization. The policy should demonstrate a commitment to continual improvement. What is quality today need not be quality tomorrow. You have to upgrade your quality. Okay? Quality policy is an important aspect of quality management system. You must have heard of the concept TQM. Have you heard of TQM? Total management, total quality management. Okay? Of an organization. It is the top management's expression of its intention, direction, and aims regarding quality of its services, processes, and outcome. So, what is quality policy? Quality policy is the top management expression of its intentions. What you want to achieve, how you want to achieve. Okay? The quality policy must be communicated down the line. Principal alone cannot do, or workers cannot do anything. It must be communicated down the line to the last person in the organization. Okay? In fact, the story goes that And Narayan Murthy, you know, the founder of Infosys. When he was entering the Infosys premises, the gatekeeper asked for his identity. Gatekeeper knows that he is Narayan Murthy. But still, when he came to the gate to enter the premises, he was asked to show his identity. And Narayan Murthy made a big article on that. He said that my best employee for the organization is the man who is standing at the gate. He discharged his responsibility for which the year he was appointed. How many of us discharge our responsibility? And since Dr. Jayakumar is a faculty member of here, when the principal came to this college on transfer from Kannur, the watchman may not know. He will ask, who are you? It so happened when we went for accreditation of a government college in Trivandrum, small college, the principal was transferred on the previous day from that small college to University College. She left without even handing over the charge. And a botany teacher from Kannur, one college from Kannur came there, and next day NAC peer team is there. When we asked questions, she said, sir, you have to beg me my pardon. I don't know anything. Can you have that arrangement when you are building a college? It is the principal, the earlier principal who submitted the SSR should have shown the courtesy to remain 3 days. And should have gone after the accreditation period visit is over and nothing will happen. And government will not say no also. That is what I say is called responsibility all about. Until and unless the teachers dispose of their responsibilities, discharge their responsibilities, nothing can happen in the heaven. So who is responsible for what you are today? To me as a teacher, it is the teachers. So it is time for us to change. Okay? So what is quality policy? Point number 1. The component of quality policy, starting point of quality policy is start with student admission. Whom do you admit? You must make a statement that admission is only on merit. Okay? And practice. And practice. Okay? Merit and inclusive intake as reservation, etc. as per the government rules. You have to follow that. No admission outside the norms. There is nothing called first come, first served basis. Prepare a merit list. And principals never should interfere with admission. There should be an admission committee, decentralized. They will decide based on the norms. Decentralized admission committee. Admission is transparent. The whole admission should be put on there. If you can, if it is possible, do admission online. Our admissions are all online. In Mumbai, all our colleges are admitting online. Okay? Demand and supply ratio. How many students apply for a seat? When you have, what is your subject? Botany. When you have say 60 seats for botany, 30 seats for botany, first year, 40 seats for botany. How many students apply for botany? Against these 40 seats. I just took botany because he is sitting in front of me. Now the moment you know that there are 30 seats, if there are 200 applications, it is a social reflection of the department. It is a social reflection of the department. If there are 30 seats in Malayalam for Malayalam subject, and if there are 300 applications, it is a social reflection. Community people prefer this, and this is a good department. This is what it is all about. So the question now NAC is asking, what is the demand supply ratio? Each department will have to calculate this. Huh? Whatever I am telling you, all this data must be available with you. Okay? Okay. Supply and demand ratio, string wise. How many students are from other states or country? There is another question in the manual. Okay? How many students are from other states and countries? Admission should not be linked with the donations. It should be only on marks. Okay? Even our management seats are only on merit. No, we never ask a single pay from the student, even against management body. Okay? Fees as prescribed are approved by the appropriate authorities. Charge only the government fees. Upload details of admission on the institutional website so that it becomes transparent and known to everybody. And somebody who is admitted with less mark will be known to this student who has higher mark but applied, did not get, then he can go to grievance committee. He can go to grievance committee. Then go, I have 2 marks more than this student, but she got admission because she has something happened behind the curtain. Okay? Grievance committee, there is a forum. Please try to understand. If you lay down these norms, it becomes quality policy regarding admission. And for every activity in the college, I am just giving you some instance, not all. For every activity in the college, similarly you can design a quality policy. Could you understand now what is quality policy? At least by looking at one case. Don't tell me that we are a government college. I want you to become being a teacher, you are in a profession. Teaching is a profession. Teaching is a profession. My question to you, I will be asking that question later in the third presentation. When teaching is a profession, how many of you are professionals? Are you a professional in your own vocation? Or are you just a worker? Are you just come daily, sign the attendance, go to the class, like some, I think Mohanlal said, go to the class. In one picture, isn't it? And go to the class, go out of the class, go home in the evening, and repeat the same tomorrow. How many of you have become an authority in your own subject? In your own subject. You have a PhD in your subject, which is the highest qualification normally. But are you an expert with having PhD with you? Expertise. Okay? Now coming to third issue, curriculum. Now being an autonomous college, it is your responsibility to design the curriculum. And in case of an affiliating college, you adopt the curriculum from the university and clearly state the expected learning outcomes. The first thing I am telling you, the first thing that the peer team will ask you,
during their visit, tell us the learning outcome of your curriculum. Have you defined learning outcome of your curriculum? This is the first peer team question. Show us where curriculum outcome is defined as a preamble. And the teacher who teaches the curriculum knows what are the expected learning outcomes. You are not teaching something, you are teaching something with a purpose. And what is the purpose? Even in English literature, if a Shakespeare's or some poem is recited in the class, why that particular poem is included in the syllabus, you must establish. What is the purpose of inclusion of that syllabus in that particular poem in the syllabus? In Malayalam, if the G. Shankara Group's Mampadam is included, somebody will ask, the NAC peer team will ask, why this poem is included in the... Because there are 100,000 poems available, why this? So whatever is there in the curriculum, in the syllabus, should have a justification. Should have a... And it is the teachers of the department to design that. Or design the curriculum. Any topic included in the curriculum in an autonomous college should have justification. Now my question to Varghese and Varghese is, have you ever identified and written that in the SSR manual, in the SSR? Because the whole grading will depend on this. See, normally what happens, you are all blah blah blah. 500 words over. You have to write 500 words, write up, isn't it? And you write blah blah blah. Not enough. And if that is to be evaluated, you cannot say that, sir, there is some reason, or there is no reason, there is a vacuum, we put that. No. No. Okay? So, ensure that curriculum is consistent with the institutional vision and mission. Because you are going to achieve your vision mission statement through the curriculum transaction. Through the curriculum transaction. Not by taking the students to the beach to see how fishermen catch fishes. No. It is through the curriculum. Okay? Therefore the question is the curriculum consistent with your vision mission? And graduate attributes. What is the difference between I'm taking little more time just to... What is the difference between a graduate and a non-graduate? Somebody, an ordinary person on the street and a graduate. What is the difference between that? Is a man who has spent 15 years of schooling to get a graduation. 15 years you have spent in the school system. School means college included. You get a graduation. 10 plus 2 plus 3, isn't it? Now that is the investment the student has made. Has that investment made a difference? When you compare your output student with a non-graduate on the street, you have to identify what makes him different from the non-graduate. Have you identified that? That is known as graduate attributes. Attributes of a graduate. In terms of knowledge, in terms of skill, in terms of values, in terms of attitude. You know, there are so many variables. Okay? Okay? So, and if there is a gap between your syllabus, curriculum and the expected outcome, then what will you do? Particularly this is the case with affiliating colleges, because the curriculum is given to them by the university and your vision is different. So how will you match your curriculum with the vision? So if there is a gap, then you have to enrich the curriculum with appropriate add-on certificate diploma programs by respective department. Each department should have a certificate program, diploma program or add-on program.